What's cracking, everyone? Hello and welcome to the top 8 of the Super Spiffy Tournament 2. I'm Alias, this is Flake, and we've got some great games to show you.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of very, very cool decks that we're going to be featuring here in the top 8. Lots of people signed up for this tournament. Only 8 remain. We're going to bring you those matches. I'll be casting it alongside Alias. And there were some pretty damn good close games in this. A wide variety of decks. So you want to hit the like button. You want to subscribe to this because you do not want to miss any of the action.
Oh no. Do what he said and enjoy the games. Good luck, have fun, gentlemen. May RNGesus bless your deck. So, we got 2 Oath of Kaias and Teferi Time Raveler. Pretty good hand, I like it.
Yeah, that's a good keep over there. You have a nice spread of lands. You have the 2 Oath of Kaias. You're looking at what your opponent is playing and knowing that you probably are going to fall behind on ramp anyway, so you might as well keep cards like Teferi and Oath of Kaya to maybe go ahead and bust down that Risen Reef should it appear early. And finding right there on the Scryland, the Thought Erasure on turn 2 should help him out. At least, removing some threats before they show up.
It'll also let us take a look at the hand. Thank you very much, Lukas. Much appreciated.
That's perfect. Exactly. Thought Erasure coming in clutch for the casters as well. 2 Risen Reefs and a Nissa. Now, a second Risen Reef means that he's going to get it out no matter what, but at least you'll have an option to remove it with the Oath of Kaya.
Those Risen Reefs are not going to survive, and also Oath of Kaya does very well against the Nissa living lands as they were. So let's see what Cardarelli's next play is gonna be. Does he want to run that out?
Yeah, you got to run it out. You have to play it. I mean, if you're going to be playing scared the whole game, you're never going to get anything going. So you have to put it on your opponent to have the answer. Otherwise, if you're just holding on to cards being afraid, you're giving your opponent more turns to find that answer. Risen Reef finding a land, ramping up an extra mana onto the board, which is what it does, meaning that Nissa is going to come out ahead of schedule. But the Glacial Fortress into Hero of Precinct 1, electing not to kill it with Oath of Kaya off the bat, maybe getting a little bit wider board. So he's playing the long game here.
As the Esper decks like to do, Nissa who shakes the world, or as I like to call her, Nissa who wins the games, is now going to start bringing these lands to life and throwing them straight at Lukas's face. So Victor in a bit of a commanding position here, but we do have answers for Lukas to get rid of both these creatures in a few turns time, and we're going to see the Paradise Druid run out here. Good fixing.
And this is a great sequence for both players. Look at the ramp that's happened for Cardarelli, and but at the same time now, the Oath of Kaya creating the extra soldier off of Hero of Precinct 1. He could go ahead and just blast that elemental land, which is a nice clean kill. And then do you attack with the hero? I mean, you're removing some ramp, but I think that you need to maintain that hero's presence and not really threaten his life too much, given the fact that creating those 1/1s is not necessarily a pressure tactic as much as it is a defensive tactic against the elemental deck that might hit you with those lands. Those lands won't have trample, so you can really just sacrifice and stay in the game until you can establish a little bit more of a control.
Yeah, these 1/1s that come out of Hero of Precinct 1, they are excellent chump blockers. And you'll probably see when the life total is pressured that they'll be used for that purpose. But for now, we're just coming up Thought Erasures, so it doesn't matter that we can't see Vincent's hand. We're just going to take a look at it anyway. Thank you very much, Lukas.
Yes, Lukas is quite the hero right now. He's the hero of Precinct this stream. And he went ahead and got rid of a mass manipulation, which could have possibly given him a little bit of trouble there. But I mean, there's not much value on the board. It's not like you're stealing big planeswalkers. The problem now is the fact that Nissa is going to be upticking to 8. So you're going to have 2 turns to really either eliminate it or crush it down a little bit. And the Oath of Kaya is going to get rid of Risen Reef. Still establishing a wide board now. You have 2 free swings. Oh, maybe not.
No. We're gonna... Oh, 1 second. Sorry about that. Friends, Twitch having a bit of a panic attack there, but it's okay. Alright, we do have the backup Nissa in the hand as well, though. So it's like, alright, this Nissa is threatening me, but there's just gonna be another one coming out. So now we're going to see the triple block on the 1 land. Let's try and slow down this ramp. If we can kill all the trees, I like to call them tree people, just, I imagine Lord of the Rings, that scene where all the Ents are walking. I was like, yeah, that's what Nissa does.
Yes. We have decided that you are not orcs, is essentially how that went. In this case, right now, though, you're going to have to answer that Nissa before those lands become indestructible and really dangerous. You could go ahead and perhaps drop your Hero of Precinct 1 to Fairy, bounce, but you can't bounce it back into hand. So really, you're in a little bit of a pickle here because that Nissa has just gone untouched. and it's gonna she can go ahead and use her ultimate, her -8, and then drop a fresh one on the board with all that ramp that's on the board. So Thought Erasure or Teferi is the question here.
I think it's got to be the Thought Erasure. We got to get rid of the backup Nissa there and then figure out how to deal with the one that's currently on the board. So, bye-bye Nissa, into the bin you go. Bolas' Citadel, that's pretty nice. Does Lukas want to keep it on top, though? Does his life total feel threatened, or does he want to go absolutely crazy, like we've seen some of the mono red decks do with Experimental Frenzy?
Yeah, you get a Steam Kit on the board, you get Experimental Frenzy, and everything can just eventually just evaporate. Your thoughts, your hopes, your dreams are evaporated and just sizzled off the face of the earth here. The issue now being, if you're Cardarelli, I suppose like if Lucas's play here, or his hope could be that maybe he doesn't want. Okay, so he could have thought that he wanted to maintain the Nissa and go uptick and then -8 and keep it on the board, rather instead electing to go ahead and use the ultimate ability, which pulls all the forests out of the deck, gives your lands indestructible as well. So this could be spooky because those lands with vigilance are now indestructible.
Oh dear, imagine if he finds another Nissa. He's got an entire army at his disposal, and these poor little 1/1s off of the Hero Precinct 1 are gonna have a hard time. We don't have the mana yet for Bolas' Citadel. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it would have been better to put the Citadel to the back and try find a land so that we can Teferi and Oath of Kai at the same time, but let's see what the play is here. We can send back this land, though. You
can send back the land, which means that it comes in purely as land rather than a creature when it gets redeployed, and that's likely the option over here. Yeah. So an indestructible land that taps for mana, or an indestructible land that attacks for 3 with vigilance are completely two different things. So he's not out of it yet. That Nissa ultimate ability is not it's not a death sentence just yet, and you're establishing a pretty wide board with Hero Precinct 1. There's a reason why that elemental deck went undefeated, but right now it seems to be that even though it had such an amazing stance, that could all change now with Chandra coming in and just eviscerating the board.
Goodbye board. Holy moly, that was swift justice from Chandra. She just KO'd that board like it's nobody's business. Teferi's sitting there going, where are my dudes? They are dead. Yeah. You're gonna have to rebuild, buddy.
Yeah, but he went to the basement to get ice for the party and came back and everybody left. That's pretty much how it went. So
yeah, because Sean just set the house on fire.
And Pulse of Marasa is a card that we don't really see that often, but it does come into effect over here, gaining 6 life, pulling that Risen Reef back from the dead, and onto the board he goes to go ahead, draw cards, grab himself some more potential ramp, some card draw, and Chandra now is just death by 1,000 cuts. She's starting to go to work.
Chandra is cooking. Teferi's still sitting on the board going like, I don't know what to do. We can 30 Rage off the top of the library, but it's not going to help you now. I think Teferi has got to get some tucking going. But even so, he's on a 12-turn clock if nothing hits him, but he needs creatures on the board, he needs to deal with Chandra somehow, and he just needs to stay alive, so we need to find some life gain here.
That's right, and he's likely going to go ahead and Teferi that Chandra back into the deck, because that 12-turn clock next turn will become a 12-turn clock will become a 6-turn clock, which becomes even shorter than that, which every tick. So you have to go ahead to ferry that back into the board. Otherwise, that Chandra is going to pretty much mean lights out for your hopes and dreams here.
Oh, yeah. We still see the Thought Erasure on top. Taking a look in the hand, getting rid of that Hydra Graces. That could have been enormous. For the amount of mana on the board, whoa, that would have been a big fishy. No, thank you, says Lukas. Victor has got to deal with Big Teferi here. Gaining some life off of the Oath of Kaya though, but Big T is in the bin. Little T is hanging out still. We might see a minus here for Oath of Kaya and then play Teferi straight after. Let's get the land down. Another land on top, that's not going to help him.
No, that extra land on top kind of stalls out his Bolus, Citadel of Bolus, but Teferi's going to go ahead -3, Oath of Kaya back into the board. That's going to be some nice help. He's going to drop the Oath of Kaya back on, most likely targeting that Risen Reef, getting some life back. Teferi comes back into play. There's all kinds of options. He can go ahead and put the Oath of Kaya back into his hand and draw another card. So there are options. I mean, each side has essentially established some kind of, play for dominance here, but
it's getting a little unlucky though, finding all those lands on the top, because he's got a really good setup here, and this is where it gets really spooky as, facing off against the Esper player, is that, they can stabilize and they start finding so many things out of their deck that card advantage just becomes immense and they run away with the game. But this emblem is still a threat. We are still getting pinged every single turn. Now hostage takers stealing the Llanowar elf. Chandra is coming down next turn.
Now that's an interesting one that it took the Llanowar elf versus the Leafkin, but I guess you can just go ahead and shred the Leafkin there.
The Leafkin's not going to be doing any damage unless it magically becomes, I don't know. If it starts dealing damage equal to its toughness. But here we go. Chandra, Awakened Inferno on the board again. What's she gonna do this time? This
might be another uptick for sure, because he's sensing blood. He knows that there's a clock going on and that the Bolus Citadel playing off the top is not necessarily going to help him. He can't kill that Chandra. He's got 3 damage on the board, and Chandra will uptick for 2 every single time. And that's not enough to really do anything important. Tyrant Scorn is just laughing at him here on a board that has only a Chandra that is just shredding away life total from his opponent.
And also, just sitting with these 3 lands that he drew off the top of the library, it's rough, but he has to go after this Planeswalker. Otherwise, it's just going to be emblem after emblem after emblem, and then eventually a painful, fiery death.
That's what I'm saying. That emblem that comes in, it just kind of carefully and slowly scratches at you in order to grind out a really grimy win, which, when we're talking about the elemental build, seeing that shot to the 2 Chandras on the main board and seeing how this build particularly went
ow.
Yeah, see, there it goes.
Oh, it hurts so bad.
And there's no answer to it, unfortunately. He's gonna have to go minus on Teferi.
Hopefully draw something useful. Use Oath of Kaya to smack Chandra.
Yeah, he's actually probably going to go Oath of...
but still, that doesn't even help him that much.
It puts the Chandra back into the deck and gives him an option. And that's essentially all he has right now, because he's pretty much... he's opting instead to go grab the other Teferi, possibly play it.
He's digging for answers here.
Well, a D-Spark would certainly help, but he doesn't seem to be finding any of those.
Oath of Kaya dealing 3 damage to Chandra. We need 1 more point of damage on the Planeswalker to get it off the battlefield, but again, it's just going to uptick to 3, adding 4 emblems to the side of the board of Lukas. Holy moly, that's rough.
It is rough, and that card, when it was announced and sort of shown off as being, one of the centerpieces of M20, a lot of people were saying this kills those games that really grind long, given the fact that A, it can't be countered, B, it has the initial uptick of putting them on that 1 ping per turn, and if it's unanswered, then suddenly it just becomes insane, because even decks with some type of creature presence often can't do the 8 damage necessary to kill it straight away. So if you don't have an instant or a sorcery to take care of it, look, this is what happens.
Oh my goodness, that is painful.
But look at that top deck of Teferi, possibly dropping the Teferian, playing that Oath of Kaya to go ahead and kill it, and giving you an extra turn. Now,
actually, no, it doesn't even help, does it?
It's life game.
That much. It's life game, but you have to pay life for it.
Well, he can go ahead. He'll go down, tick on Teferi.
Yeah.
Draw the card.
Pick up Kaya, draw the card. Yeah. There you go.
I will say this: the resilience of this Esper list in the face of that Chandra has been quite impressive, because you'd think that this should have been over probably 2 or 3 turns ago, but he's finding ways.
Yeah, he's finally dealt with this Planeswalker. He still has to deal with... Well, he can't deal with the emblems. As far as I know, there's no way in Magic to deal with an emblem except Scream, right?
Yeah, you can just throw your computer off the balcony, and that's possibly one way to never, deal with it again, but...
So we're going to see the Elite Guard Mage down, drawing a card. It's going to be the Narset off the top of the library, gaining 3 life. So we are at 10. So we're on a 3-turn clock without any other life gain.
That's correct.
Let's see if Lukas can defeat Victor in 3 turns.
Well, he's going to have to go ahead and deploy that hero, Precinct 1, pop off on essentially everything possible, and then swing in for an A-load of damage.
We can say buttload. Butt is a fine word to say.
Butt is a fine word.
Alrighty, here we go. Precinct, Hero Precinct 1 and the Oath of Kaya.
Now, Oath of Kaya buys him another turn. Believe it or not, Oath of Kaya off the top next turn gives him a little bit more help here. He'll draw it, he'll play it, and I mean, you could potentially steal this in a spectacular way, because if you're Cardarelli, you're thinking, he's got 4 Chandra emblems. He's got 6 life. How the hell is he pulling this off? But like I'm saying, like it's magic to watch this sort of be pulled off.
nice little
throw in that.
Yeah, good job. So we got Narset. Narset can go digging. We've got the Tyrant Scorn, which isn't going to find a target because old Paradise Druid says no touchy. That's just a blocker for Victor at the moment.
Now, Narset might come in, find himself another answer.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what Narset finds in the top of the library.
Now, the issue is I don't think that you want to hit Narset because it means that you're losing that Teferi top deck next turn.
Yeah.
That Teferi top deck next turn means that you can go ahead and pull that Oath of Kaya back into your hand again.
Correct.
And there's some crazy things going on over here in the sense of just resiliency of, in the face of 4 Chandra emblems slowly scratching you down, he's
pulling this back. Victor needs to find something immense off the top of his library, or he is in big trouble.
Now, the thing about that is, let's say you find what could be an enormous threat, like a Hydroid Crisis dies immediately to Tyrant Scorn.
Yeah.
Nissa's not gonna be that great, although she's already ulted. Like that. Like we need to remember the fact that Nissa ulted like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And it's meant nothing.
Okay, what do we got here? We got 2 Teferis in hand. The Hero of Precinct 1. There's counting going on. I always like it when the mouse pointer moves. It's like, what you counting there, bud?
Okay, so now you uptick with Big Teferi, pull the hero in, you drop the Time Reveler, you bring the Oath of Kaya back to hand.
Play it again.
Yeah, you play it again, you make a wide board, and you win next turn. That is the line of I'm seeing here, especially since poor Cardarelli is drawing dead, even though he was in a ridiculous advantage at the beginning.
All right, so he's opting for something else here. He's tucking the Oath of Kaya to the 3rd spot in the library. Narset's going digging to find the Oath of Kaya. So, kind of, sort of, maybe the same way, maybe losing out on some value there with the 2nd hero.
Now that is an interesting,
It's interesting line you took there, but I think ultimately it might not matter. He just needs to make sure he stays above 4 life.
Oh, hold on a second. I mean, that is not a bad play because that allows him to uptick with the Time Raveler now, meaning he can downtick next turn and then replay the Time Raveler on the same turn to get 2 Oath of Kais to gain even more life. So
sweet.
Who is this wizard?
I
this
have
is
no
insane.
idea. This was an incredible display of just staying power. Lukas has scrabbled his way back here, and I think Victor's just been drawing dead for the last few turns. He hasn't found any big threats. We're gonna see Big T hit the board now.
My goodness.
More Hero of Precinct 1 tokens. And I think this might be game, set, match. Let's see. Well, game. We still have 2 more after this, depending on what happens in the next one.
This is some absolute filthy play from Lukas. I'm in awe. I mean, in terms of just the intimidation factor of those emblems raining down on you every turn. But it's not a big deal. I mean, he was resilient to the fact that there was an early Nissa ult.
He's gonna blow everything up. This is fantastic. Somebody clip this because there is a contest for best clips, so somebody please clip this on Lucas's behalf. Going out in style, Bolas's Citadel, killing his opponent in spectacular fashion.
That is amazing. And doing it with style at the end of it, he could have just gone ahead and got with the full army, but he decides rather, I'm just going to create a ass load of dudes, and then just, they all die on the altar and 10...
That was, wow, that was impressive. But I mean, the Esper decks are so used to having their face melted. They're so used to fighting for that last little life point. They can be on 1 life and they're perfectly fine. So I think he saw those 4 emblems and was probably just like, yeah, okay.
Like these are, it seems like these types of Esper players that can sort of really cheekily calculate out these wins. These are the types of people that like mob bosses hire as accountants to sort of to kind of like, you know, really wiggle way out of the money laundering schemes, because that was such a cold and calculated way to get through it. It took a lot of sneaky kind of play and very clever ways of manipulating your own card base. Every single one of those planeswalkers played a role in assuring that you had a life total that can be sustained above that Chandra tick. I thought it was game over when he had the 3rd or 4th emblem, not enough damage to go ahead and kill that Chandra, but otherwise it seemed to be game set match in that case. Well, no match again. You got me saying it now.
Sorry, my bad. I've been watching too much tennis. Actually, none of it. I just like the saying. Okay, so getting into game 2 here between Lukas, Honnay, and Victor Cardarelli. Temur Elemental versus Esper Hero. Victor is, of course, the undefeated player from yesterday, but Lukas is looking to give him the first loss of this tournament. Take a look at the opening hands. We've got Duress Hero, we've got the Elder Spell, and Narset Part of Veils. A pretty solid opening hand here for Lukas. Again, we are unable to see Victor's hand. Apologies for that, but we have the Esper player to help us out.
And this was a big deal right here because he found he had only tap lands or 2 tap lands and a scry land in his opening hand, so that he was going to be playing essentially a turn behind unless he found the shock land, which he did. Watery Grave coming in, allowing to drop the Duress. Now these options here are pretty solid. You can play, you can pick out the Fry, allowing your Hero of Precinct 1 to come in, free and
Safe.
clear.
Yeah.
Or you can just get rid of Chandra right away. Now the thing about this is that there are still other Duresses in the deck. There's 4 Thought Erasures, so that Chandra's not gonna be a problem for another little while. Yeah. Not to mention there's an Elder Spell in his hand, so you don't need to worry about it. So Fry's gonna get chucked to the sidebar, meaning it's safe passage for the Hero of Precinct 1.
We're not too sure what was drawn there from Victor. It might be a kill spell, you never know. Took 2 damage to the face there just in case. I think playing mind games a little bit.
And there's the Risen Reef coming in, and he's gonna do some Risen Reef things, which is draw a card, put some lands. There's the other there's the Thought Erasure. Yep. This is looking good, but he doesn't need to play it yet. He sees what's in the hand already. He knows that Chandra's there. There's also a negate, but he is tapped out. Cardarelli is tapped out, so this is a free and clear Thought Erasure if necessary.
Hostage Taker on the top of the library. I think that's a pretty decent thing to keep there.
Yeah,
maybe stealing the Brontodon or something.
For sure. He sees that there's an actual Brontodon that's going to stop him from actually attacking effectively, so might as well keep it there. You have mana in hand for next turn anyways, and he's opting instead here to just establish a second Hero of Precinct 1 to go wide, not seeing much board clear. Board clear and Risen Reef decks are not always the most effective, because your Risen Reef is typically going to die anyways. Usually your board clear you're looking at is your Chandra -3 ability.
Oh, found a Fry off the top of the library. That's going to dispatch of one of the Heroes of Precinct 1. But we do have the Hostage Taker if we want to steal the Risen Reef. Maybe, why not?
Absolutely, you want to take the Risen Reef. You saw the fact that the Fry's gone. There's not much and nothing else in the hand to actually deal with it. Mm-hmm. And stealing a Risen Reef it's not the matter of you want to play the Risen Reef. You just want
them to not be on that other side of the board.
Yeah. And Hero of Precinct 1 has now become Hero of Precinct 1.5, and his buddy is now on the board, joining the fray, and there he is. There's Omnath.
Omnomnath. I like to call him Omnomnath because he likes to eat other creatures on the side of the board there, like that.
He's a handy and pokey one. Like, I like the animation on him when he comes into play, and he just, thing of nightmares there.
Yeah. It's not as bad as, what's the other one called? Yarok? Ooh,
oh.
Lord, that one is terrifying. Alrighty, so we're going to see the Risen Reef now, playing for the other team, and pooping out dudes accordingly, and drawing some more cards. We're going to Thought Erasure Victor's hand, take a look, create another dude off of the Hero of Precinct 1, and now it's time, bye-bye, Chandra.
Finding another Thought Erasure off the top right there, which is amazing. You're going to Thought Erasure, you know that there's a negate in there, but you could just probably buy the negate with the Thought Erasure. The Brontodon is just sitting there kind of wondering when it's going to get its turn to play. But Omnath is nothing to really be to take lightly. It does grow quite large. It doesn't have trample or reach or anything, but just on its own it can be an effective blocker. Plus, once the lands start floating in, Omnath allows you to go ahead and every time you play a land, draw a card after you have your 8th land on the board.
So Luke is now seeing that there's just a negate in the hand, so he's going to get rid of it irrespective. He's going to create the creature, which was what his intention was there, I believe. And we're going to see Narset Part of Veils hit the board, immediately minus, and we're going to find either Teferi or Oath of Kaya. Let's get Big T rocking.
Yeah, and the board is looking mighty mean and nasty. The Bolas' Citadel sitting there, and there's our old school good friend, the M19 Viv Reed.
Yeah, she's a little behind the times, isn't she?
She'll find her way. I mean, she picks up a Risen Reef. No mana to play it, so you're kind of still behind a turn. But don't forget the minus ability on Vivian Reed is nothing to shake a stick at either. All your creatures become +2/+2, vigilant, indestructible. They get nasty real fast, but there's an instant answer.
Oh yes. So D-Spark can go for either the big Omnath on the board or get rid of Vivian Reed. The fairy's gonna plus, draw a card, untap 2 lands in the end step. We still have the Elder Spell available if needs be, and this board is getting mighty wide. I think Victor's gonna have a hard time dealing with this. He needs to kill off some of these itty bitties.
Choosing the lands, which lands he wants to untap, so that D-Spark can go ahead and make short work of Vivian Reed.
He could have also used the Elder Spell to kill Narset and Vivian to ultimate the fairy. That's an option.
Yeah, but I think that he knows what his win condition is in this case. He already has a dominant position. He doesn't necessarily want to get rid of the card draw of Teferi.
Yeah.
So might as well pay 2 to get rid of it free and clear, knowing that he already has a lot of advantage on this board.
So finding the second Narset as well. We've got Bolas' Citadel. There's just so many options here for Lukas now, as opposed to Victor, who's handless. He's got no other cards. He's not drawing anything because of Narset. So we're going to run out the second one here. Take a look in the bottom of it. We'll take a look at the top of the library, and let's find some answers, some more answers. We've got another D-Spark there. We're going to exile another permanent, CMC 4 or greater.
Yeah, that Omnath is going to be long gone unless he wants to hang on to it. It's not really a threat right now. Omnath is not necessarily...
No, he's not getting through for anything. So.
No, so you can save the D-Spark for a potential draw of, let's say, Nissa, or if he suspects, another Vivian. But I think they have deck lists, I believe.
Yeah, they do.
So he knows that Vivian was the single Vivian that exists. So he's going to hang on to that D-Spark because that Omnath literally is just a giant green blob of nothingness. It's
He's
like
green and orange.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
It's Weekend Flake. It's just let's just sit in a pool of our own crapulence and wave hands at everybody. That's right there. Get bigger and fatter as we go.
Alrighty, so Omnath getting bigger, but no card draw because of that Narset. We're gonna see the D-Spark get rid of Mr. Big Flubberman. And it looks like Flubber. It looks like Flubber gone wrong. Flubber after a rough weekend.
I guess. Oh my god. Well, at least you called him Mr. And
Mr. Flubber.
Mr. Disgusting Flubberman. Well, at least you had the respect for me to call me Mr.
Narset's gonna take another peek at the top of the library here for Lukas. Finding Kaya's Wrath. We don't want that. Come on, the Dreadhorde might be fun. Oh, maybe. Oh, sure. Okay. We're gonna blow everything up? Please don't.
That was a very suspect choice, but in this case, he's going to go for that Elder Spell play of killing his own Narset to beef up his Teferi and then go minus.
Yeah. Fairies on 8s. We're going to see an ultimate. Here goes the emblem. Let's blow up Mr. Brontodon. And there's the concession. So, Lukas is the first player through. Congratulations to them. That was a very, very excellently played game. Well fought battle in the first one to just defy those 4 Chandra pings. Whew, that was insane. So we saw Lukas dispatch of Victor Cardarelli, our only undefeated player from yesterday. He is out of the tournament. Lukas is in the running still for all them good prizes. And joining him, Brad Stives, taking red aggro to Tiago Rodriguez and eviscerating him. So I hear 2-0.
I'm sure those games went deep and were really, really well fought out.
Or they just were over really, really quick. You know what red decks do.
Or he drew 3 shocks and 3 lightning strikes and laughed his way to the bank. One of the 2 things possibly happened. Nonetheless, it's a win. Still in the bank. So Brad advances as well to the semifinals.
All right, so we are ready to get going. And let's see. Here we go. It is Mohamed versus Jay. So we're going to call them by their game names just so we don't get confused. It's Back Again versus Jay.
Versus Jay.
Yeah, versus Jay. All right, I am missing the top thingy here, so Flicker, you call us out while I fix the top screen, friendo.
Yeah, that's no problem. So looking at Jay's hand over here, a nice sprinkle of different colors of land over there, but nothing really to play early on. But knowing what his opponent is, that's not going to be that big of an issue, given the fact that it's going to be a lot of setup for a while here. There's no threat of getting blown out of the water by either creature presence or burn spells or something along those lines. Typically, right now, Jay's just worried about making sure that he finds those threats early. But Teferi is an option, drawn from Dreams on turn 4 to go ahead and get what you need. Hunting for that Chandra, knowing that he's up against a Nexus list, is gonna really help him out in the long run. And on back against side against establishing his mana pool, there's really nothing that he needs to worry about right now. It looks like Teferi is his only option, drawing lands like crazy now. He'll have no shortage of land.
We don't actually see the score or the hand in our one opponent's streams, so unfortunately we are going to have to go blind here, friendos, again. But that's okay, let's carry on. We see Tamiyo, Collector of Tales on the board, the fancy version coming into play. I really do like these stained glass planeswalkers. I think they're so cool.
Yeah, they're a nice little extra, a nice little piece for those who kind of want to bling out their decks, so to speak. It's kind of like it's like having a foil, but not it's an altered art foil. There's great ways to customize decks that you really like. Blast Zone really representing nothing of value. It's just going to be colorless land at that point. Again, there's really not much going on for Jay's hand. He's still got to wait 2 turns to get a Teferi on the board, but Drawn from Dreams will be his next play. Tamiyo is hunting for that Wilderness Reclamation.
These new temples of Mystery and Triumph or whatever else from M20 have also made pretty good additions to a lot of the meta decks, just giving that little bit of a scry. They're in no rush to go anywhere fast, so...
No, they're going to be another option to sort of create that dual land, like the mana fixing that you're going to need. Once the tap lands are rotating out from Dominaria and Ixalan, you're going to need another option that isn't just, a standard uncommon dual land that comes in tapped. You want to actually get some benefit off of it. So Temple of Malady and the tap lands are going to come in and kind of help that out. And Wilderness Reclamation has hit the board. That's another piece to the puzzle that's going to be making Jay maybe a little bit worried, but there it is, exactly. I echo that sentiment.
Yeah, I like it when players draw crazy cards that I want to see played. So Chandra, I hope we get to see it hit the board. I'm not sure what Back Again's got in his hand to deal with this big threat, but we do have a Teferi and a Teferi as well as the Chandra for Jay.
Now, believe it or not, I would actually even consider grabbing Chandra again here, just in case there's an issue of it getting pulled off the board. You don't need to necessarily. There's going to be other options to find it, but in this case, playing Chandra on curve is going to be so vital because it makes that Nexus just completely trash. Well, I say trash. I say trash because there's heaps of bias in my experience of playing against it. But I root for that Chandra so much because I know that it really makes Nexus players kind of sweat a little bit.
We are commentating on hard mode here because my cat is deciding, yes, I would like to hang out on your shoulder right now. So I have Shoulder Cat, and we have a Tamiyo digging for Nexus of Fate, finding the one at the top of the library. I really do like this new revealed cards thing because, wow, this deck likes to reveal cards, and previously it would just eat up all your time.
It was very interesting. I have a buddy of mine who's just getting into Magic and playing on MTGA, and his first experience was with Tamiyo, and seeing an opponent call out Nexus of Fate, and it pops out from your avatar, right? And he's like, how did this guy get these wicked cool emotes? He's just naming cards. I'm like, you gotta figure out how this works, buddy. He's digging for that card is what he's doing. He's not just throwing shade at you by naming random cards that cost a lot.
So back again, firmly in the driver's seat here with the second Wilderness Reclamation on the board, as well as Tamiyo. It looks like it's going to be very difficult for Jade to come back here. I'm not entirely sure what he can do, if anything.
Well, that's the hurt of this entire match, is the fact that Jay has done nothing but play lands. He played lands and Drawn from Dreams, and now he sits back and
concedes.
Oh yeah, it's over in this case. I mean, like I said, this game was essentially going to be whoever can establish first and then go ahead and pop it off. This is going to be a game of sideboards, as we can see right away. Jay already going ahead and just in and out and in and out. And
oh yeah, he knows exactly what he wants. Very, very determined and decisive sideboards here. Let's see what he takes out. Goodbye, Deafening Clarins. There's no creatures in this matchup. Don't make me laugh. Drawn from Dreams coming out, just the one of as well.
You probably want to get rid of the lava coils as well. Yeah, those are going to probably bite it. Disenchant is the first one that went in there. You have also the Fry that is going to be great against pretty much every planeswalker that Back Again is going to be playing. Aether Gust. I mean, he's also opted right there. Legion Warboss is on the board, so there's going to be a threat. But he's already considering like, can I play 7 Dovin's Vetoes?
Yes, where are all the nopes? Because he's going to have to find them at the right points. He's going to want to not let those Wilderness Reclamations resolve or let Nexus of Fate get rocking, because as soon as that happens, it's very tricky to come back as the Jeskai player. So I was actually checking out the Discord yesterday, and Jay was talking about this deck, and it's a labor of love, he says, because it's not the typical Jeskai controlled list you'll see. Jeskai is not all that popular at the moment, just because of, you know, the sheer strength of Esper control and decks like that. So he says he's tried really, really hard and to create something viable, and he's done exactly that. He's made it into the top 8 of this tournament. Beat out 244 other players to get you.
Well, that's a great way to test out your own homebrews. In essence, is to go ahead and bring it to a tournament and see what other people are playing, because you're not just putting it up against the meta. You're putting it against other people's passion projects as well, and seeing how it fared. And you made it to the top 8, and that in itself is a great seal of approval to say that, you know what, this deck has legs and it's actually pretty strong, and you can still sort of fine tune it as it goes, but that just means there's a good base for this deck to move forward now.
Yep.
A lot of the cards in there, like Teferi, Chandra, things like that, it's not like you're not coming out of left field and sort of surprising people with some type of interesting brand new game plan. But at the same time, it's how these cards sort of coalesce and fit into how the meta's shaping up.
Alrighty, so let's get into game number 2 here with Back Again and Mohamed versus Jaren. Good luck to both players. May RNGesus bless your decks. Taking a look at the opening hand here for Jay, we've got Dovin's Nopes, Teferi, Search for Scanta, 2 red sources, 3 white, and then the 1 blue. So sitting pretty, got all the colors sorted, and some pretty good openers.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, with the Temple of Triumph off the top, that's great. You can fix your next draw if necessary. There's nothing that you're really playing to begin with. Hollowed Fountain could come in as your shock to just immediately play your Search for Scanta, and it's off to the races in that case. Jay's going to be going first, so he can establish that Search for Scanta without having to throw in or wait for a Dovin's Veto on to really counter anything. You should be fine. I mean, in these matches, it's difficult to sort of parse out what you want to be using those Dovin's Vetoes on. Are you using it on the Planeswalkers? Are you saving them to sort of break up a Nexus loop? Are you what's your game plan here? Both these decks kind of go long, so I think it's just going to be a matter of trying to stall out the Back Again's path to getting that Nexus loop versus actually breaking it up, so that you can look for that Chandra, get it on, and find it, and then hopefully that's good enough to go here. But the sideboards are going to factor into this heavy, and we're going to see, right now it doesn't look like Jay has any of those sideboard cards locked and loaded, but the extra Dovin Vetoes floating around can help him out.
Oh yeah. So, sitting on the end step here, not sure if Back Again is deciding to opt or not. If things froze. Freeze. May have frozen.
No, they're just making a very, very calculated move here. This is the biggest opt in history.
No, I think we might actually have a freeze here on the stream. So we're going to figure out what happened here, friendos. Give us a second while I try and figure out a cat as well, because he is all over me and now he is all over Flake. So
okay, so I have a cat.
We're going to skip to tournament ahead here, friendos.
Ow, and cats are amazing creatures because they have razor blades built into their appendages for defense and offense, which is incredible. So
all right, friends, so we're going to check out what happened there. Grotlik, if you can just confirm with our players that their streams are still going, because if they had ended their stream before Yeah, that might have been what happened. So we're gonna find out what happened there. If the stream did end, we will give you the results between Back Again and Jay while we figure out what this cat wants from my friend Flake.
Money. Ow!
Yeah, money. Ow! Did you scratch you?
Oh no, his tongue is scratchy.
Oh yes, he's now licking him. Games are still going on. We are having issues then. Let me see if a refresh will help.
Now, again, it's likely the game could have been, it's frozen. The games are still going on, so it's just a stream issue. So it's technical difficulties. It's going to be okay. Twitch. These things happen.
Shit happens. Yeah.
Okay, we are still kind of.
All right, there we go.
There we go. We're back into it. Yeah, the sponsorship from NASA has not necessarily come through yet, but we're working on it.
All right, now we see the Blast Zone getting rid of the Search for Azcanta. We're going to drop a few more lands down, go Scryen. Probably don't want that other Temple of Triumph on top. Let's send that to the back. We got Dovin's Nopes available, and we're missing that other blue source for Narset, quite importantly.
Yeah, and that's going to really hurt here because it's going to also kind of... You're slowing down the Narset, but at the same time, it's not like you can sort of double up on your Dovin's Veto, and you have to Dovin's Veto once. If you spend that blue mana on something, you're then locked up against a potential counter for a future spell that your opponent's going to play. In this case, it's just kind of painful because he tossed away that land and didn't really get any help. So unfortunately for Jay, as much as he's looking to perhaps establish a board and get things rolling, it's just not happening because he's getting color locked now.
And while he struggles with the land, we see Back Again just adding those counters onto Blast Zone, getting it ready for the, 5 mana Planeswalkers perhaps. Another Search for Azcanta coming out, and that's a pretty good target. We know that a flipped Azcanta in a Nexus deck is pretty much game over. So let's make sure that doesn't hit the board and doesn't flip. But Veil of Summer is going to make everything hexproof, draw a card.
Which is such an amazing card to come in. Because Dovin's Veto says the spell can't be countered. You think that you finally found the absolute ace card, the ace up your sleeve to say, like, I'm going to counter you, and that's it, and that's the end of it. But apparently Veil of Summer says, well, you know what? Everything can go and suck it, because...
Yeah, Veil of Summer has proven to be quite a good addition to this Nexus deck, just offering a little bit of extra protection, especially against cards like that. I mean, it's incredible. It gets around, can't be countered, so, yeah. Amazing. But here we go. We're going to see Legion Warboss pooping out his little dude. And it's going to fling it at the face of Back Again, dealing that damage. We know there are root snares, but they're not going to factor in for a little while until these Warbosses get cray-cray.
Now, that's if he even kept them in, knowing that he might be up against... I'm sure that there might be one or two floating around still. But the interesting part about this is that those blast zones do not touch those tokens because they're... So as long as this Legion Warboss continues to create some havoc and is unanswered, those tokens are going to be, are unthreatened by the blast zones. So they'll be able to kind of stay on the board and maybe put a little bit of pressure. Not that it's significant, but at the time where Jay is not drawing land and is just sitting on A, being color screwed, and B, being just overall mana screwed, he is probably just cursing himself right now because he tossed away that previous land, which might have grabbed him a Teferi on the board by now, which probably could have upticked to more land, which means Chandra could have been out in a turn or two.
But alas, no land for Jay. Narset is digging through the library, finding the Wilderness Reclamation, and that is going to hit the board. So Jay knows that that is a threat. He's going to want to be able to deal with that pretty soon, but we do see Teferi Time Raveler, who can shut down Nexus pretty much.
Yes, which is definitely helpful in this case. Legion Warboss continues to create havoc on the board just by continuously spawning threats. He's going to be dropping down Teferi Time Raveler in this case. Not sure what he's going to be bouncing back. It might
be Search.
Yeah, it might be Search. In which case, you're still drawing you're going to be drawing a card, perhaps dropping another land. In the best case scenario, he goes ahead and does that, draws a card, and it's a source of blue mana, which means he's got an open Dovin Veto to maybe go ahead and counter that other Wilderness Reclamation.
Wilderness Reclamation, I like that.
Wilderness.
Wilderness. So it's a very minusing. Doesn't draw a card because of dear old Narset. I wonder if he forgot about that.
That might have been a mistake on that case.
I think he forgot about that, yeah. Because how many times have we done the same damn thing? So perhaps an attack first and then Teferi minusing would have been the play there.
Certainly.
Because cutting himself off at the legs, in essence, he's missing his 5th land drop, and I think that might be a big, big blow to Jay's chances here.
Yeah, that was a significant oversight over there, because it's not like he forgot it and there was no way to deal with it. He just needed to attack first and then go from there, and unfortunately that was not the case. And now this could be quite dangerous given the fact that Wilderness Reclamation is going to hit the board. He's got a Teferi that down ticked for nothing, more or less.
Pretty much.
You know, it was just a little bit of self-inflicted wound, you know. Teferi went emo and just wasn't, you know, just for the...
Quit hitting yourself.
Exactly.
Well, it's not over until it's over, though, so let's see if Jay can recover here. We do see the Wilderness Reclamation hit the board, no land to help him out there. I think perhaps if he had attacked there and found a land off the top, he would have been able to Dovin's Veto the Wilderness Reclamation, which is gonna go absolutely bonkers now. So let's see what it follows up with. What else is in the hand of Back Again?
Well, that's enough mana to bust out a...
I think it's enough to bust out a Nexus if he has one. Let's see.
But at the end of the turn, now, again, you can only play on your sorcery speed, can you not?
Yes, because of dear Teferi, but Lost Zone deals with 2-in-1, getting rid of Legion Warboss and itty bitty Teferi, bro.
Oh, and this is so painful. Unfortunately, this is really, really tough. And that could be, I mean, if the next card's a land, that is what he would have drawn. In this case, we don't even know what's going on, because it was probably an escape enter on the fact that, you know, if you you look to draw a card and Narset's on the board, you just essentially, the game is just like, we can't show you this. This is bad news.